Right, hey everybody. What we're doing now is we're actually going to start working on our backup camera, at least running the wires. I want to point out what I'm running is a LockPick BarCam. It's very nice. Here's the camera itself. The reason I went with it, it's 180 degrees, weatherproof, and more importantly, it has night vision, which I thought was a big deal. Also, this one, it's got the distance marks, which if you don't want that, the kit includes a little jumper you just plug in. Same with the mirror and non-mirror image, you just plug a jumper in. Essentially changes the polarity. But those connections will basically just tape off once we confirm everything works. And then from the camera, we've got a female yellow RCA and a male black RCA. You get a crud ton of cable here, should cover the entire car. What you want to do is route the cable ends, if we can find the other one, here they are. You want to make sure these two are at the back. That's the male RCA yellow and then our black female RCA, because these are actually going to plug in like so. Reason that's important, you don't want to route the cable and then realize you did it wrong. Case in point, what the other end is going to look like. Where it terminates here at the Y connector, this yellow male RCA will plug into your head unit for your rear video input, and then the connection here, which I have plugged in, it's another black male RCA. They also include this, which is a female RCA, plugs right in. Important thing about that, and the reason I'm showing you that, you want to make sure it is connected right and on the correct end, meaning the engine forward side, not the rearward side, because here's your power supply. Simple 2-wire connection. Your black is going to be a chassis ground and the red is 12 volts. That's really all there is to this camera. What I'm going to do is come in, once you've basically connected everything, here's our power lead and our rear view input for our head unit. So we'll come back over here, and that would mean that right here is where we need to separate things. So we'll pull those off. There will be our camera end, so we know where it's going to be. And now we need to route this end of the cable from the bumper forward. So what we're going to do, I'll probably just take this off the tripod. There's actually a real nice opening down here. Right above that license plate light, you kind of see that void, and right here is where we're actually going to route everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get started there. Alright everybody, we're still here in the Lone Star Mopars shop working on our audio visual upgrade, I guess if you will. Leads for the backup camera. I've got them labeled. I mentioned this earlier, you want to make sure you keep them straight. This is the one that's going to go to the head unit, because it's the one that's going to be the female black AV input. That's actually where the male lead is going to have the split with the obviously your camera input, and then more importantly it has a black and red 12 volt and ground leads, which is going to power it up. I'm actually powering mine up at the head unit. I know a lot of people do it opposite than that, but to me that makes the most sense. I was fixing to drill. Just texted a guy down in Dallas that I knew had done a backup camera. I nearly drilled right before that. I've got the seals at Grommet. They're real nice. I was actually going to come in right down here on the other side of the spare, and in a stroke of brilliance or idiocy, I never know which one it is, what I found, I was doing everything I could. Right here, I saw this, and I saw the little tabs, and I thought, man, if I could pop that out, and I shined a flashlight in through the rear bumper, and what I found is it looked like it would pull through. It does not pull through. I assume you can push these tabs in and then you could pull out if you had the rear bumper off. However, what it does do, I assumed it must be here for ventilation, and I couldn't quite figure it out. I thought they just must have been meshed or screened real fine, and then I realized that they flap up and down. And the great thing about that is we can now run our rear view camera leads through these flaps. Obviously you're going to do both through one vent and then just route them. If you see here for reference, the spare tire is about the dead center of the trunk. I'm going to come in on this one just because it's closer to the battery. I'm planning on routing my cables on the passenger side. This middle rib here, these 3 ribs, 1, 2, 3. 2 is the dead middle of our rear bumper. I don't know what that funky line is on the camera, but I'm actually doing this upside down and bent over, if you didn't know. But this right in here is where our license plate light should be, you know, picturing it on the bumper cover. What I'm going to do is route the wires through this flap, and then down there I only have roughly, you know, 12 inches, and then factor it coming down to the license plate, maybe another 8. This is going to be perfect. I don't know if anyone's realized this before or not, but if you have not, or if you plan on doing a backup camera, this will save you a ton of time. Had I realized this when I started, it would actually be wired instead of me, you know, coming back and forth between this and the head unit for the last 6 hours. But I'm pretty happy about it. I'm going to go ahead and try it out, and I will show you the finished product. Alright, I tell you what, despite this being incredibly painful and uncomfortable and very awkward, I've got my leads here for the backup camera. Again, this one will actually plug into the camera itself. Actually, I mean, they both do. But, I mean, this is going to be your power signal, basically. I'm going to carry it the length of the car. And then the yellow is going to be the input. So what I'm going to do, as mentioned, we'll just take this little flap, opens up, and we are in. I now have access to the back bumper cover. Let me get that off the spare tire. And, I mean, I'll just go ahead and thread some through. And now I'll come out to the other side, fish it out, and we will be in business. Alright, that took all of about 20 seconds. Just slide through, you know, about 2 feet. That way you can reach up in there. There's a lot of give in these bumpers, if you didn't know. So basically you can get your, you know, 2, 3, 4 fingers in there, depending on your hand size. And find one lead. They both come through. And we are in business. We can actually now go ahead and plug this into the camera and mount our license plate back, and there we go. So really happy with that. Again, we just come through here, basically right where your license plate light is. You come up, everything is tucked and concealed. There's all my leads. We're just right out there through the ventilation, like I said. So that is pretty awesome in my book, and hopefully it'll help you out. I know it sure helped me out. And now we just got to route all the rest of the wires here. Alright, hey everybody, we've got our LockPick BarCam 221 here. Did test this out on the head unit earlier. Picture looked pretty good. It had the grid lines already, the polarity was correct. And since I didn't mind it, what I've done, you want to go ahead, this isn't pretty, electrical tape never is, but I'm not quite sure this is going to be a permanent install. It may be semi-permanent. You know, once I get it in, I may tweak some things or decide I don't like the grid lines. But just go ahead and tape these off. You don't want water in them. You can always put the jumpers in to disable the polarity of the image, and of course, you know, the distance marks. They're both tagged here. But what we're going to do now is you simply come in. Here are the leads that we passed through our bumper, through that little ventilation thing we found. Yellow goes to yellow, black goes to black, and then we pull it all in place. And then it is simply a matter of taking our, you know, license plate backup camera, bolting it to the license plate. As you can see, well, not really, but you'll just have to trust me, it lines up with the holes. You have to use the hardware they supplied, not the hardware from your you know, the dealership. Those are a much larger screw, you know, kind of a flat head on them, and they're just simply too big for the opening here. So just use the hardware included with the camera. I'll probably upgrade that to something that'll be a little bit more theft deterrent. But anyway, I'll go ahead and get started, show you the finished product. Alright, so basically all you do. You turn 2 screws in place, and you've got it. It's actually stainless steel hardware with this camera, which is why the magnetic bit wasn't working. Couldn't tell if it was just like a low luster chrome or stainless. Turns out it's just stainless. But essentially, you've got your license plate, and then right in your mounting provisions, you've got the bracket. You know, there's a little bit of leeway if you want to adjust it. But there's a backup camera installed on a 2008 to 2010 Dodge Challenger. Definitely a lot easier with that little tip I showed you coming through the ventilation hole in the bumper, and really makes the cakewalk. Then it's just a matter of routing your wire. But this wraps up the back end. Questions, comments, feel free to ask here on YouTube, or you can sign up on LoneStarMopars.com. It's free to join. You know, no moderator issues. We want you to post events and external links. You can ask questions there. We'll do our best to help you out. And as always, thanks for watching.